See if anybody hops on. Maybe anybody who hasn't gone to work. No, we got a thumbs up, but it doesn't look like there's anybody here. Is there actually somebody here? Hey, Bill, how are you this morning? I got my coffee. Do you have yours? Cold. Yeah, it's cold. It's about 24 degrees here. Wind chill's like 15. And it snowed a little bit last night, so I walked outside. All the goats are looking at me. I think they were trying to tell me they were over this weather because, quite frankly, I am. See if anybody else shows up. Do you have any more babies? Well, we got a ton of rain. We got about 2 inches of rain the 2 days before the temperature dropped, so I have a frozen lake out there. I could probably get some ice skates out. Still a bunch of mamas do. You got a couple more weeks left of kidding season, I think, don't you? I think you're the only one coming in here. Probably everybody else went to work. I might as well just tell everybody, yeah. 30 left due. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I'll ever get up into such big numbers of a herd like you do. And if I did, oh my gosh, I'd be exhausted. Definitely would have cameras all over my barn. That's for gosh sure. That for darn sure. It's, yeah. Okay, well, somebody else just joined us. Hello. I've been super busy and haven't had time to put out a video, and I had a little bit of time this morning, so I decided I'd just go live. Yeah, I think if I had that many and all the craziness, I think my hair would go all gray too, Bill. Definitely, for sure. And I would probably have to take stock out in coffee as well. But mainly I was just going to give everybody an update. The La Mancha that we had, we wound up rehoming. It just didn't work out her dynamic wise. So we found her a new home. And we'll be looking and seeing about maybe getting something else, a dairy, to help us with having milk here in the household, as well as having some milk for when we have bottle babies, because using milk replacer or even whole milk from the store, even if we get it from Aldi's, which is the cheapest place around here, it's still quite expensive to raise a bottle baby. So, and we've got a couple of them that will be leaving here in a few weeks. It's really hard to believe that Saturday we will have 3 babies that'll be 7 weeks old. So, yeah, right now, tentatively, all of the babies are on hold. Still waiting for a couple of deposits, but I've gotten deposits on 3 of them. So hopefully the other 3 deposits get here by the end of this week, which is a good thing. So that way all the babies get to go to their new homes. Another thing is this Sunday, we are picking up our first buck. I'll do a video whenever he gets here, hopefully. And picking out a name. He is not registered, but he is from registered lines. I don't know if his dam was from registered lines, but his sire and his grandfather were registered. But he's weather genetics, so that's going to add a lot of a lot more, well, bigger boy to get bigger, nicer babies, which will definitely make them more marketable. Morning, Brenda. How are you this morning? I was just talking about the fact that we're getting our very first buck. Well, we got a little buck before. We got a baby, and he just didn't grow right, and we're pretty sure he was brain burnt. But anyway, we found a 2-year-old that had a good season this year. We were able to see what he produces. He produces some really nice babies. And he is, for the most part, pretty well easily handled. And we're going to go pick him up. He's about 3 hours away, but they're meeting us. So It'll be really good. But the other thing I wanted to talk about this morning is I got a job. And it's not a job on the on the homestead. I got a job off the homestead. So I am going to be working at a place about 15 minutes from the house, and they service people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Morning, Christy. I have experience in that field when I was a lot younger. And basically what I'm going to be doing, and it sounds kind of like I'm working on a homestead, because I'm going to be, hi Ozark Mountain. Sorry, I have to look at the chat on my phone and it doesn't always pop up as to who I was watching. But we're basically basically what I'm gonna be doing is working with a group of individuals who enjoy working outdoors. And this place has a day, they have group homes for the intellectually and developmentally disabled, but they also have, sorry, my brain's, more coffee, need more coffee. Basically, they also have three big greenhouses that are open to the public in the early spring and summer. And then they also have some llamas, which I have not been around, chickens, ducks, 2 older horses, as well as some goats. So basically, I am going to be helping a group of developmentally disabled adults take care of the critters, and then we go over and work in the greenhouse. We transplant things. We make flower hanging baskets. Coffee is good, Bill. Yes, it is. And so I'm going to be working in a greenhouse and taking care of critters with a group of developmentally disabled adults. And I'm super nervous. I haven't had a full-time job in quite a while because I've stayed home and taken care of my kids. And then also with my Hashimoto's, it is a little nerve-wracking as to doing this, but so far it's going okay. I've pretty much been sitting in their meeting room watching safety and health videos that are required by law that I watch. So today I'll actually get to go out after I get my first aid class done, and I'll actually be able to go out and work with the people and start to get to know them. So it'll be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, it's cold, so being outside to take care of the animals will be a little chilly, but the greenhouses are heated, so we should be okay there. And I believe they've just got a shipment of the flowers and stuff in. My wrists are doing pretty good. I still have a little bit of trouble. My grip is not exactly where I would want it to be. Sometimes opening jars and things like that seems to still be a problem. But I don't wake up at night from the tingling and the numbness and the pain. I don't get sharp pains in them anymore. So I do think it helps some. Not as much as I was hoping it was going to, but it definitely is better than it was. And I don't know that I would recommend doing both at the same time. I mean, they made it seem like it was going to be a big, easy thing. And if I had to do it over again, I'd do one at a time, honestly. So I don't know that I would do both. So if you decide to get yours done, do one at a time because it's not fun. Is anybody starting any seeds yet? I haven't gotten any done yet. I bought 1 small bag of seed starter and was going to get my cabbages and bok choy out, and I haven't done that yet. So, ooh. And if anybody sees my mom anywhere today on YouTube or anything, please tell her happy birthday. Today's her birthday. I texted her this morning, but I haven't called her yet. I'll probably call her on my way to work because I have to go in. Normally I'll go in at 8 o'clock, but today I don't have to go until 10:30 because I got to wait until their nurse is available to do the first aid training. But I'll only be working Monday through Friday, so I'll have my weekends free still. Yeah, Mother Nature's not cooperating here either, but I set my shelf up in the dining room, which is where I put it. That's where I get good sunlight in that window. I've got 1 light on it, and then payday's tomorrow, so I'll probably get another light. Another light to be able to hang for more plants. Oh, my mom just texted me something. Sorry, it popped up on my phone. That's distracting. Good morning, Susie. How are you this morning? Yeah. Hopefully we can get the high tunnel done. We're still, and I wish I had a greenhouse. Mom and Dad built one last year, but when we get the high tunnel, then we'll really be in business. Um, yeah, us too. It's freezing this morning. It's 20 degree, what, 24, 25 degrees out, and it snowed, but we don't have a whole lot of snow. Pretty much just froze everything, and then we've got a wind chill. So yeah, it's not fun. I'm glad my kidding season's over. Everybody say prayers that Bill from Stony Creek does well with the rest of his kidding season. He's still got quite a few does that are still left to kid. So everybody say a prayer that all his go well. But we're still trying to get bids. We haven't even been able to. We've contacted quite a few contractors for our drainage project. If you guys are new here, we have had a lot of flooding issues and nothing drains. So we applied to the NRCS through the USDA to get a grant to assist us, and we got it, and it pretty much pays for the materials to do the drainage project job, which includes gutters on the barn, drainage pipe to take the water from the barns away from all of the fields and paddocks, as well as a 60 by 60 gravel pad, which is that will go in where the horses go right now. Or the horses are right now. And we've been trying to get some bids from contractors because we just feel like the drainage pipe, making sure the slopes and everything are correct, that is a little bit above our knowledge and our skill level, that we would rather have a contractor get those things done, as well as the gravel pad. And we're also going to be putting fence. We got approval to assist with the materials for fencing to do rotational grazing as well. But anyway, we're trying to get bids. And oh my gosh, does anybody else have trouble getting bids from contractors? Because we've had a couple of them come out and take a look at the project. They have copies of the plans. One of them I know for sure has spoken with our soil and water engineer who's the one that designed most of the plans. And we just haven't been able to get any bids in. They say, oh, we're interested, but then we don't hear anything. I've got other ones that say they're interested. We give them the plans, and then you don't hear nothing. We have another one coming, as long as they show up, Monday afternoon to take a look at the plans so we can see what we can do and get somebody. It's too wet to start anything now, but I'd like to have the contractor in place so as soon as the weather is favorable, we can get it going, because we have until January 3rd or December 31st of this year to get everything done. That includes the drainage, the pads, the fencing, and the high tunnel. So there is a lot to do. Good portion of it's still going to be under our cost, but at least we're getting some assistance for it. And we have to pay up front, and then we get reimbursed by the grant. And like I said, we don't get reimbursed for everything, but I'm very thankful that we were able to get this. Now, if we can just get a contractor to get it done, that's going to be the biggest thing. So we're still on hold with that, trying to figure out and get somebody to be able to do it. And then hopefully the weather shapes up enough for us to be able to do that, because that'll be super, super nice. Most of you probably know and saw that my old mare, Star, passed away. Hi, Mom. Happy birthday. Hey, everybody say happy birthday to Mom. She's here. So anyway, my horse, my old mare Star, passed away. So Holly is actually going to be going back to my mom and dad's, because she's technically my mom's and my sister's. So she's going to go back there, and we're going to take a break from horses for a little bit. Yeah. What did Mark say about Babe? Mom had to have the vet out to check on one of her horses. She was seems to be having a little trouble eating. She might have needed her teeth floated. She was losing a little bit of weight, not fat and sassy like she normally is. Did he float her teeth? Oh, Norm got floated. She didn't get floated. Okay. Well, I guess we'll talk about that later. You can tell me about it. I'll call you when I get done here, because I don't have to be at work until 10:30. So I'm just drinking coffee and warming up. Figured I'd tell everybody that we're changing things around a little bit that I got the job, and talk a little bit about the drainage. Holly's going to be leaving, going to mom and dad's here shortly. So we will not have horses for a little while. And then we're going to be kind of just changing things up a little bit around here just to get more serious with the goats, because that seems to be a really popular item in this area. So it's marketable, and that will be really good for us. We'd like to get more serious about that, not just make it a hobby, which is part of the reason why we're getting the new buck. He's gorgeous. I got to think of a name. I don't really like the name that he has. The lady said he came with the name Billy. Okay, Billy Goat. That's not very original. And because he's such a big fella, she called him Big Boned Billy, Triple B. But I don't really like that name. He has, I'm trying to think. He has, his sire's name is Wicked, also known as Chubby Boy. And then his, trying to think of what his grandsire's name was, and I'm not remembering it right now. But yeah, we have, so something, I think it's called the Wiz or something like that. So we're trying to figure. Hi, Smith's World Homestead Live. How are you this morning? We're trying to figure out what we want to name him. And unfortunately, with how cold and wet and nasty it is, he's pretty much going to be in a stall for a little while. But thankfully, my stalls are horse stalls, so they're nice and big. They're plenty big enough for a goat. But my husband wants to reinforce the door since it is a buck. Don't need him busting out and trying to get where he's not supposed to be right now, especially since I do have a couple of yearlings that won't be able to be bred for, until later this year. We're going to try to breed probably June through August. So we'll have, pretty much we're shooting for December babies this time. We want to get them done a little bit earlier, just because we wound up getting into January, February, and it was so, we had some really cold days. So we're hoping to do them a little bit earlier, maybe that way I don't have to worry so much about heat lamps, which I don't like because of the fire and all that stuff. I don't know. That's what's going on with everybody else, because I think I'm running out of stuff to talk about. Does anybody have any big gardening plans or changes that they're going to be doing? Midas Samson for a goat. Oh. Let me see. You put fence on the top part of the stalls to keep the goats in and the other animals out. Well, most of these stalls do have the cattle panel up on the top of them, but he just wants to reinforce the door and probably put an extra latch on it just to make sure. Trying to look at the chat. Oh, yeah, speaking of names of the the buck, trying to come up with names. My girlfriend and I were messaging yesterday trying to come up with names, and she said Wizard and I said Dumbledore. And then I said, well, no, wait, we could do Wizard of Oz. And what else were we saying? We were just goofing off. Actually, I thought about naming him. We are going to look into seeing if he is registerable. I just got to figure out what his mom's background is, or if I at least know the sire's background, if I can get him DNA tested and see if I can get him registered. And since he does have the one that the name was Wicked, Merlin. Ooh, I kind of like that one. I did think about naming him for a registered name. People name registered goats some of the weirdest things. We had a thoroughbred, registered thoroughbred that was off the track once, and her name was On Z Radio. And there's a pretty popular boar buck registered to lines around here called Smoking Hot Ruger, and which is kind of funny. I thought about naming him Smith and Wesson, but I thought about naming him just because people name they don't even name him a name that's really what I would say a name. It's a saying or something goofy, and I thought about naming him something wicked. This way comes. You have Doobie and Buddy. Oh, that's good. I got a goat named Betty Boop, so we did start kind of naming a lot of them. Fabio. We did start naming them. I've got several goats that are named after Greek goddesses. We had Athena, but we wound up selling her. We have Calypso and Nemesis, and we thought about naming him Eros, which is like the god of passion and or something. So we thought about naming him Eros. We had the little buck that we had very briefly that just wasn't growing and everything. His name was Aries. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure. Maybe we'll have to come up with some selections and I'll have to post a video and get everybody else's opinion. Your goats were Bastion, Petal, Mercy, and Magnum. Oh, do ya? Yeah, that's what I started to say. Well, I needed a theme. It started out with Betty Boop, and I said, well, I kind of looked at the names for the other characters in the cartoons for Betty Boop because she's one of my favorite, characters, and I didn't like any other of the names. They were just weird. So we started doing Greek god and goddesses, and of course, anything, if Alex was to keep anything out of his goats, they're always Star Wars themed because my 13-year-old loves Star Wars. So he has Princess Leia, of course, and then her daughter that we kept last year, he named Rey. So Curious George, Flint's Turbo, and Pablo. Bye, Smith's Road Homestead. Thanks for stopping by. Actually, I'm going to have to go soon, too, because I got to get ready for work. But I just want to give everybody an update because I haven't been on here. It's probably been a couple weeks, and things have just been crazy. We've had a lot going on. We've got a senior in high school that's getting ready to finish up and has got a bunch of wrestling and stuff. We're trying to make sure we attend all those because it's the last ones. And as well as trying to get some things done around here. My husband built some temporary creep feeders in one of the stalls so that way the babies can go in and get their own food. He has been fixing the doors on all the stalls and adjusting them so that way they're doing really well. Let's go pay a king's ransom for the privilege to drive on the roads. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's always fun to have to do that. I don't like doing that either. Let's see. What else have we done? I don't know. What else did we do? I can't even think of anything. Oh, I processed the 2 lambs. That's the other thing I did. I processed the other 2 lambs. My dad wasn't able to help me because he had the flu, then he had pneumonia, and then he had to have his hip replaced, so he has been out of commission. So I actually went with another friend of ours who typically does hogs and deer butchering. People bring animals into him, so I called him and I was able to take them over. So we just did the initial processing together. We called them and then skinned them and quartered them out, and then I brought them home and wound up finishing them at home. And I had bought a really cool little outdoor edge butchering kit. The knives are awesome, but the little bone saw that was in it was terrible, so I wound up using a hacksaw to be able to cut through the bone to make some chops and steaks and stuff like that. And so I didn't weigh everything. I probably should, so that way I can let everybody know what I got out of them. Because the one was pretty good size, and we got some really nice cuts out of him. The other one was smaller. He was I'm not sure. I think he was like a Dorper Barbados cross. And the other one was Dorper Katahdin, much better. It grew much better, had a lot more meat on it. So if I decide to do that again, I'm definitely going to be looking for Katahdin or Katahdin Dorper crosses. I was not happy with the cross that young one was in. But probably overall, I mean, honestly, even though I don't know exactly how much pounds I got between, I paid our friend that helped me get them initially processed as well as for feed and the initial cost of each lamb. I'm probably looking at about $4 a pound maybe, which, that's pretty good for lamb. You go to the grocery store and it's expensive. So I'm pretty happy with that. I've still got to do the grindings. I haven't ground the meat yet. I got to take that over to my parents. I don't have a meat grinder, so I got to take that over there and get that done. But we also got a side of beef. So my freezer is very full. I don't have to go to the grocery store for any meat at all. Except maybe bacon. Bacon would be the only thing. And we're not big on a lot of pork. What do you want, Apollo? Ah, I'm going to drop the phone. Yeah, hi, Apollo. What? Okay, I think Apollo needs to go to the bathroom, so I'm going to go take him out, and everyone have a blessed day. Thanks so much for stopping by, and you guys take care.